Have you ever heard about the moment a wolf decided to trust a human? Not a wolf that was captured. Not a wolf that was bred in captivity. A wolf living in the wilderness made its own territory and kills, choosing to move closer to a human instead of away. It taught its offspring to do the same. Over thousands of generations, the animal became a dog, the oldest known partnership between humans and another species. It predates agriculture by thousands of years and predates the domestication of cattle, horses, sheep, and other animals. It happened when humans lived in small nomadic groups, moving across dangerous landscapes and competing with larger predators. It didn't happen because a human decided to tame a wolf, but because a wolf decided something first. The question of exactly when and where is still being resolved. Genetic studies have placed the divergence of dogs from wolves somewhere between 15,000 and 40,000 years ago. The archaeological record shows dog burials, deliberate, careful burials, bodies positioned with intention, dating back at least 14,000 years. A site in Germany called Bonn Oberkassel contains the oldest confirmed dog burial ever found. A dog buried with two humans, carefully placed between them, 14,200 years ago. Someone buried their dog the way they buried their people. The relationship was already old by then. To understand how it started, you have to understand what a wolf actually is, not as a dangerous predator, but as a social system. A wolf pack is a family unit. It has a hierarchy maintained through constant social negotiation. It has communication systems, posture, eye contact, vocalization, sophisticated enough to coordinate hunts, resolve conflicts, and maintain relationships across years. It has a theory of other minds. A wolf knows what other members of its pack are thinking and feeling and intending. It reads social signals the way humans read social signals. This is not a coincidence. It is the reason the partnership became possible. Early humans and wolves occupied the same ecological niche. Both were cooperative hunters operating in social groups. Both were pursuit predators capable of tracking prey across long distances. Both used communication and coordination to bring down animals larger than any individual could handle alone. When the two species began occupying the same landscapes, they were not predator and prey. They were competitors running almost identical strategies. What happened next is the part that researchers have spent decades reconstructing from bones and DNA and careful inference. The current best model is not the one most people grew up with. The story of a human finding a wolf pup, raising it, and domesticating it through affection and training. That story produces a tame wolf. Tame wolves are documented. They are not dogs. A tame wolf is an individual animal that tolerates human proximity. It does not pass that tolerance to its offspring reliably. It does not become a different species. What produced dogs was something slower, stranger, and more interesting. It was self-selection. The same process that produced the domestic cat, but older. The wolves that lived on the edges of early human campsites, drawn by the smell of food, by the warmth of fires, by the concentration of prey animals and food scraps that human camps produced. Those wolves had a survival advantage over wolves that stayed deep in the wilderness. More food, less energy spent hunting, better survival rates through harsh winters. The wolves bold enough to tolerate human proximity reproduced more. Their offspring inherited slightly reduced fear responses. Generation by generation, across thousands of years, the wolves at the edge of human camps became less wolf and more something else. And then the humans started helping. Not deliberately, not with a breeding program, but humans, being humans, responded to the presence of young wolves the way humans respond to young animals that are not immediately threatening. They fed them, they interacted with them, they kept the ones they found appealing, and drove away the ones they found threatening. Without intending to, they were selecting for the traits that made wolves easier to be around: lower aggression, higher tolerance for eye contact, responsiveness to human social signals. A researcher named Dmitry Belyaev demonstrated what this selection pressure produces in a famous experiment beginning in 1959 in Siberia. He took wild silver foxes and selectively bred only the individuals that showed the least fear and aggression toward humans. Within 10 generations, not thousands of years, 10 generations, the foxes began showing physical changes nobody had predicted: floppy ears, curled tails, spotted coats, juvenile facial features retained into adulthood, vocalizations that resembled dog barks. The foxes were not just behaviorally tamer, they were physically different. Selection for reduced fear response had accidentally selected for an entire package of physical and behavioral traits that we now recognize as domestication syndrome. The proto-dogs at early human campsites were running the same process across a much longer timescale, and somewhere in that process, something happened that changed the relationship entirely. The animal that had been self-selecting for tolerance of humans developed something no wolf has. It developed the ability to read human communicative intent. Dogs follow human pointing gestures. Wolves do not. This seems like a small thing. It is not. Following a point requires understanding that a gesture from another individual is an attempt to direct your attention, that the pointer has a mind, has an intention, and is trying to share information with you. Chimpanzees, with whom humans share 98.7% of their DNA, fail this test. Dogs pass it reliably at 8 weeks old, before significant exposure to humans. The domestic dog's brain, shaped by tens of thousands of years of living alongside humans, developed a specific cognitive adaptation for reading human social signals that no other species on Earth possesses to the same degree. The dog did not just become tolerant of humans, it became tuned to humans, calibrated, at a neurological level, to read and respond to human communication in a way that made it uniquely useful as a partner in the specific activities humans needed partners for: hunting, tracking, guarding, herding. The early partnership was not sentimental. It was functional. A dog's nose is approximately 100,000 times more sensitive than a human nose. In a landscape where tracking prey across days of cold ground was the difference between eating and starvation, an animal that could follow a scent trail a human could not detect was not a companion. It was a survival tool. Early human hunters with dogs had a measurable advantage over those without: access to more prey, higher kill rates, better survival through lean seasons. The relationship compounded. Dogs that hunted successfully with humans ate better and reproduced more. Humans that hunted with dogs survived better and reproduced more. Two species, each making the other more effective, across thousands of generations of mutual dependency. By the time the Bonobo dog was buried between its two humans 14,200 years ago, the partnership was ancient. The dog buried there had been ill. Analysis of its teeth showed severe disease in the final weeks of its life. The humans had kept it alive through that illness, feeding it, caring for it, at significant cost to themselves, and when it died, they buried it with them. That is not a working relationship. That is something else. The dog genome today is more different from the wolf genome than any other domesticated animal is from its wild ancestor. Not because dogs were bred most aggressively, cats were modified less. Not because dogs were domesticated longest. There are arguments for longer relationships with other species, because the specific selection pressures of living alongside humans for 15,000 to 40,000 years, being selected for social cognition, emotional responsiveness, and communicative alignment with humans, produced changes at a level that goes deeper than coat color or body size. The dog's brain is different from the wolf's brain, not just behaviorally, structurally. There are approximately 900 million dogs on Earth today. They live on every continent. They work as hunters, guards, herders, guides, search and rescue animals, medical detection tools. They sleep in beds. They are photographed more than almost anything else on the internet. They are the subject of more human emotional investment than most humans receive from other humans. All of it traces back to a wolf that moved closer instead of away. We tend to tell this story as a human achievement. We domesticated the dog. We took a wild predator and shaped it into a companion. The genetics tell a different story. The wolf moved first. The wolf self-selected for proximity. The wolf developed the cognitive adaptations that made the partnership possible. By the time humans were actively shaping the relationship, the wolf had already done the most important work. The dog is not a tamed wolf. It is a wolf that decided across thousands of generations to become something new, something that had never existed. It gave up the wilderness, the pack, the territory, the full expression of what it was, and in exchange it received shelter, food, protection, and the devoted attachment of the most dominant species on the planet. The wolf at the edge of the firelight made the first move. We just didn't realize it until we looked at the DNA.